Hello, Sada. How are you? Going well.
Fine, Ramji. Fine.
So nice program.
Bhagrat, how are
Everything
you?
I've taken.
Good evening. How are you?
Welcome, welcome here. We are very eagerly waiting to hear from you.
Thank you so much for the host.
I saw some of your interview also online. Very impressive, motivating.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kind of you to say that.
So, Dr. Pandey, shall we start or it is already time? Unmute, please. Unmute, please unmute. No, unmute. Yes. We don't
Okay.
unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
It was not allowing me to unmute.
Okay.
Okay. So, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, friends. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome you all in this session on Diaspora Achievers, and more so because we have with us today one of the most accomplished Diaspora Achievers, Mr. Roderick Nakuzi. I welcome you, Mr. Nakuzi. It is a delight to have you amongst us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Friends, let me begin with a short introduction of Mr. Nakuzi. Roderick Nakuzi is the founder of innovative concepts ranging from smart logistics solutions to last mile delivery companies, earning him nominations from some of the most prestigious quarters. He founded his first company in 2012 called Versus Playground in Lebanon, and that continues to be its managing partner. In 2013, he founded his second company, Transcorp International Last Mile Delivery in Dubai, and continues to be its CEO. In 2014, he founded Frenzy Ville, biggest indoor soft playground in the region in Lebanon, and continues to be its managing partner. In 2015, he founded Swift Services and Solutions, Smart Logistics Solutions in Beirut, he is its CEO. In 2017, he founded Frenzy Jungle, outdoor playground in Lebanon. In 2019, he founded Gourmet Hub in Dubai and continues to be its CEO. Again, in 2019, he founded E-Engage Me, an yearly network event to boost the SMEs in Dubai. And in 2020, he founded Under 45, a temperature-controlled bike delivery model. So in 9 years, he has founded 10 successful ventures. Now, let me talk about some of his awards, recognitions, and milestones. He was declared as the top 5 SME businessman of the year by Arabian Business in 2015, top 10 entrepreneurs in the Gulf by Gulf Business in 2017, top 100 most powerful Arabs in the world by Arabian Business in 2018, top 100 most inspiring leaders of the Gulf by Arabian Business in 2019, and USCK Hall of Fame by Holy Spirit University in Lebanon in 2019. Mr. Roderick, let me tell you, this is simply an awe-inspiring journey. And I'm very sure the audience will agree with me fully. So please take us through your journey. Tell us about yourself, your educational background. What really motivated you to choose such a career? Do you belong to a family of businesses and entrepreneurs?
First of all, thank you for the introduction. Let me introduce myself to the audience. My name is Roderick Nakuzi. I am originally from Lebanon, but been based in the UAE for the past 14 years and counting. I'm holding a degree in international logistics from the Holy Spirit University back in Beirut. Like any young Lebanese guy who landed in the UAE, I came with big dreams in my luggage, and since it was the land of opportunity in our region and now in the world, I have always enjoyed new challenges and new adventures in my life, and I believe this is what led me to the UAE at first, and then I took this entrepreneurship path. To be honest, I'm not coming from any businessman family. My family was a middle-class family, working family. I was exposed at a very young age to different jobs, and this has enhanced my skills and my strategic thinking, and give me a wider outlook about life in general. But I was inspired by all the successful Lebanese entrepreneurs abroad and their success stories. I didn't need much of a motivation, to be honest, since I always had, like, it was always my goal to start something on my own since my teenage years. And it kept on emerging and growing in my thoughts year after year, especially in my late 20s after I landed in the UAE, and I have witnessed the size of the economy in here and the potential in the market as well. Before I launched my first venture, I gained enough knowledge and expertise while working with reputable multinationals close to 10 years, where I learned a lot, got exposed to different cultures, did my mistakes, and succeeded. And that gave me a great advantage during my entrepreneurship journey.
Oh, great. Thank you. This is really interesting. Now, you have started a series of businesses, one after the other. I mean, it is one is compelled to think that how could you manage this? And all of them are running; they are successful business ventures. And can you also share some of your challenges that you faced in launching so many businesses? And actually, I was watching one of your YouTube interviews, and where you say, and I quote, that I had only one option, and that was to make it. So that was quite intriguing. So do you have a success formula? Can you share with us?
The success formula is the yes, I can attitude, to be honest. And yes, it's one of my, not slogans, but let's say sayings for any entrepreneur. You should not give yourself a chance to fail, because once you have it as a chance, there's a possibility that you're gonna fail. And since I don't have any financial support from my family, or I didn't have any, I had to make it. How it started, I started to save money once I came to the UAE, and kept on working on a disruptive transportation model after I witnessed a gap in the market. Before you start any business, you need to see the gap. You need to do something called product market fit. If your product is designed and made for that specific market, yes or no. You might have the most successful product, but the market doesn't need it. So this is why it's very important that you run something called, as I said again, and I'm going to repeat it, it's a product market fit. In between, I had to secure a stable source of income because I was willing to quit my corporate life. I had a very solid corporate job, but you know, whenever you quit your job and you decided to become an entrepreneur, you're gonna be hit and face very tough couple of years. And if you don't have any source of income to fuel your new ventures, you're gonna be cash strapped, and it's gonna cause you a lot of problems. So this is where I started my first business back home, which was a sports venue. I was not paying any rent because it was on the family land. I started it with my brothers. It was a very successful and lucrative business, and it really helped during the early years at Transcorp. Transcorp, this is my current and biggest venture. This is the last mile delivery company specialized in temperature controlled boxes for e-groceries, FMBs, and pharmaceuticals. I always knew if I wanted to succeed in such a dynamic market, I had to be unique. And this is why I took an extreme swift into an untackled market, which is the temperature control. Most of the players back then were very hesitant to explore that sector. I wasn't, because I knew this is going to be disruptive, and it is needed. I kept on drafting and dropping business ideas until I found an opening in the cold chain sector and started Transco. How I am managing the companies, it is with a great help of a great team. And I always say it, yes, I have created them, but they have made those companies. Without them, it's impossible. Without having the right people around you, it's impossible to do it on your own. So I shifted from having my hands in the business to more on the business and the development of those ventures. That said, one cannot deny the challenges any entrepreneurs will be hit, and he will be faced with starting from, by the way, most of them you don't foresee. Like you're entering a journey where 90% of those challenges, you know nothing about them. If I knew it was that challenging, I might have reconsidered my decisions. I will never drop it, but I might have delayed it more to have more cash in hands. Anyhow, now those tough years are gone, so I am enjoying it. We are enjoying it. And there is never a right time. It's more about the right attitude and commitment.
Yeah, yes, yes.
The most common challenges for any entrepreneurs is cash. Especially being cash strapped is very challenging. And this is one of the gray areas that young entrepreneurs don't really have enough financial knowledge to forecast a proper cash flow analysis. Another blind spot I was personally hit with were the macroeconomic factor, which most of the entrepreneurs don't consider or even ignore. And whenever I say macroeconomic factor, I'm talking about the fiscal policies, the governmental regulations, and all the negative factors that include political and catastrophic events, the likes of the 2008 financial crisis, the 9/11, the recent recession, regional wars, political clashes, and natural disasters. Such events will create, how to say it, like a far-reaching ripple effect. It will result in capital control from the banks on a global or regional scales, and that will lead to reduction in government and bank supports to the startups ecosystem, which lead to huge challenges for the entrepreneurs. So for me, those were the two main challenges I was hit with. Of course, you have the usual, the hiring, firing, the recruiting, because you're new to it, operational, technological, but there was nothing alarming or serious.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know about these challenges that you faced, and also, you know, your successes. Now, coming to your existence as a diaspora, you know, that is our main, you know, point of discussion in this conference. So what do you think it was beneficial for you, or it created some of kind of problem for you of this existence as a diaspora? And also, how do you keep your connection with Lebanon? I mean, we read about how diasporas are helping the mother countries in terms of technical know-how and other things. And also, we often read about the difficulties that the diaspora face in their acceptance in the host country. So at these 2 points, your acceptance in the host country and your contribution or your connection with the home country, can you say something about this?
Yes, sure. The Lebanese diaspora is very famous around the globe. It started very, very long time ago during the Phoenician times. And it was fueled recently by the Civil War. Our ancestors were the kings of trades of the Mediterranean. This is what they say, and this is what we read. They got famous in trading with dye. It should go out of a very famous city or coastal city called Tyre in Lebanon. And it continued until today, and it's increasing, by the way, because Lebanon is having tough times at the moment. Personally, I was always a firm believer in the economy for the common good. My code of ethics when it comes to racism, sexism, nepotism, and all the positive contributions and values we work by. I believe in the success of an individual, or like the success of an individual should not be determined by how much profit his companies are making or his net worth. It's more, or it's rather by the level of contribution to the common good in the host country and in his origin country, starting with the number of jobs he is creating, to his fairness towards his employees and their growth and financial gains year on year, adding to it to how far is he going in safeguarding the environment and reducing the carbon footprints, how reasonable he is when it comes to the integration. And this is something very important, by the way, when it comes, because I'm going to speak about technology, because we are living in the era of technology. So the integration of technology in the current businesses is very instrumental for entrepreneurs, for the profit of the company. But also one has to be reasonable on how to implement it and what kind of jobs to substitute, because there are a lot of repeated tasks currently handled by humans and it should be replaced by technology. So personally, I believe in a hybrid model where both work in a very coherent model. And this is something we are implementing. And I can easily, any entrepreneur can easily substitute a lot of jobs and a lot of tasks now by AI and by technology. On top of it, we need to see the kind of initiatives the diaspora community is at the same time. Speaking about us, our initiatives, we have launched recently, because Lebanon is being hit by a very, very tough economic crisis at the moment, adding to it the COVID and the pandemic effect. So we have launched a 3-month internship programs for 50 candidates, fresh grads. We're going to bring them to UAE and to KSA, put them under a 1-month training, then assign tasks for them for 2 months. And if they perform well, they can get a full-time job. It's a unique opportunity to thrive and grow for those fresh grads. And we believe, why we are doing it, this is something related, by the way, to the diaspora community, because Lebanon is, the Lebanese economy was so much relying on the influx of capital towards its banks, and the foreign direct investments of the Lebanese entrepreneurs or businessmen in their hometown country. As I said, the Lebanese community has always played an instrumental role since the Civil War in keeping a certain kind of stability back home. Our initiative is to help those individuals to transfer back money in foreign currency to Lebanon. And they will not only help Lebanon, but the 4 million Lebanese people stuck back home. And I know you asked me about my host, which is the UAE, which is my home for the time being. I hope I can find the right words to describe the warmth of this country. It is a very peaceful country, yet visionary. The leadership have massive goals. They want to transform the UAE into one of the most workable and livable city around the world, while guaranteeing financial stability and some kind of a security. I think every individual in the UAE should be very grateful for the stable environment we are living in.
Great, great. Thank you for about sharing your views on this. So this is really inspiring and a great journey. And there are many young audiences in the people in the audiences, and I'm sure they will be inspired much. I now open the floor for the question and answers. So please go ahead and ask your questions if you have any. Sada, can you hear me? Yes.
Dr. Pandey, we can hear you. I see two participants have raised their hand.
Okay.
So Professor Renu is in the room.
Hi. I somehow cannot see the hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dr. Raj
Can
is...
Please, can you speak out the names? Yeah, okay, yes. So the first, yeah, can I call upon the name? Renu, go ahead, please.
Thank you for this very brilliant and awe-inspiring journey. I have one brief question. So while you are investing and working in the UAE, do you have any diversification strategy for your business, or is it all concentrated in the UAE? Have
at the
a
moment,
diversification strategy?
yes. It's never safe to have all your basket in one market. And at the moment, we are working on a model or a technology to help us grow regionally, then globally. We're not going to stop here. We're continuing.
Okay. Renu, do you want to ask something else? Okay, so the next question would be by Professor Raj. Professor Raj, can you hear me?
Unmute. All right. Yeah, my question is, can you hear me?
Yes,
hi.
Yes. Yeah,
hi.
Hi.
Thank you very much. I missed the first part of the presentation, so I have missed on the name as well. So, Mr. Presenter, it was a very interesting expose. Now, my question is entrepreneurship learned or is it inherent? The reason I'm asking is because the Lebanese entrepreneur, I'm from Dominica, a small island in the Caribbean, and we had Lebanese some maybe 120 years ago who came to this small island, remote islands in the Caribbean. And they have diversified businesses and they have integrated very well. So the question to you is it learned or is it inherited? In other words, exposure to your family, doing business is what teaches a would-be entrepreneur, or can one go to school and learn? I'm an economist and I believe that you don't learn entrepreneurship. But anyway, over to you.
I fully agree with you. You don't learn it, but it is a mix of learning and something inherited, the way I see it. Why Lebanese, they like to follow that path is because we don't have much opportunities back home. If we were having a stable economy and a stable country, trust me, you will not see a lot of Lebanese outside Lebanon and taking that entrepreneurship journey. So this is one of the reasons why we take that path. It's for a better living, and I think most Lebanese, they like to take risk. Like, we have nothing to lose. We're not coming from a rich background, so taking the risks is not going to change anything. It's either make it or break it. But I have to say that you have to learn a lot during your entrepreneurship career, especially when it comes to finances, accounting, technology. You need to know a bit of everything to be able to run the show properly. You don't need to know much about everything. This is how I see it.
Thank you. Thank you. So the next question would be by Dr. Ramji. He's from Nepal. Dr. Ramji, please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. It's wonderful to listen to you. Let me see now. Okay, it's great. We are talking about diaspora. He said there are many diaspora want to go back home and work for their nation, going back. Nowadays, there is a movement for the going back to the home country. What do you think about going back to Lebanon and starting some entrepreneurship there?
It is always my dream to do so. It's not off the plan. It has been always there. It's just the timing now is not correct. And by the way, this is not the opinion of most of the diaspora. It's mainly for the people in the Gulf, and it is related to the citizenship you will or you will not get. Like at some point, the Lebanese in America or in Europe, they get the passport and they become citizens, and they continue living their lives in those countries. When it comes to us in the Gulf, like you can never, or at least until the time being, you cannot get citizenship or a passport. And on top of it, it's just like 2 to 3 hours away, a flight 2 to 3 hours away. So you always feel like you're close to home and you don't need to be based forever in that country. But honestly, I have no issue spending my whole life in the UAE and in parallel have another business in Lebanon once things cool down. Because now we have a couple of businesses, but due to the current situation, we had to not stop, but just to put them on hold.
Thank you. Yeah, your biodata says about 2 or 3 businesses that you have started in Lebanon here. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so the next question would be by Dr. Mahalingam.
Yeah. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes. Please go ahead. Yeah.
My question to the panelist. Actually, sir, you have been living in UAE. You said that it's your second home. I'd like to know about what is your reading of Indian migrants in UAE, because UAE has considerable Indian population who are entrepreneurs. So I like to know your point of view on Indian migrants, Indian immigrants in UAE. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your question. Well, the Indian migrants in the UAE are my second family, to be honest with you. Most of my founding members are from India. And the way I see it, they are one of the sharpest, the most dedicated, the most loyal amongst all nationalities. They have really contributed to the growth and development of the country overall, but I'm speaking about a personal experience. They made the company. My company is the Indian immigrants are the ones who help to drive the growth of the company.
Wow, great. So we have an Indian connection. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So the next question would be by Dr. Reva Singh. Dr. Reva? Please go ahead.
Please unmute, Dr. Reva. I think she is not able to. There is some issue.
Okay.
So you can make a concluding remark and we can.
Okay. So thank you all. Thank you very much. Reva, are you there? Okay. So thank you all. Thank you, our guests. I mean, this was really inspiring, and I'm very sure all of us are, amazed with the kind of success that you have achieved. And really, you are one of the most significant diaspora achievers that we call upon. Thank you very much. Thank you all, and good night from India. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.